Hello and welcome to the Work for Change podcast. It's your boy Jean, spelled like Jean. I felt like I was missing something there.
Yeah, there was something missing.
Yeah.
And it's your boy John with the silent H. Welcome to episode number 56 of the Work for Change podcast. We are very happy that you decided to click on our faces.
Or I mean, probably not if there is a podcast.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
If it was on YouTube, you clicked on our faces.
But you saw that a podcast came up and you clicked on something that said Work for Change.
Before this podcast, you were saying you're like super tired.
Yeah, man. I haven't been getting the best sleep. So a few days ago, this is very exciting stuff, but a few days ago, I could not fall asleep until legitimately 4:30 in the morning. And that was very weird. I know why. Because earlier that day, I ended up taking a nap in the middle of the day, which is something that I don't normally do. Like, I'll take a nap, but a nap for me, maybe 15 minutes. This nap was 2 hours long. I don't think I've ever done that before.
I equally took a nap that day.
Yeah.
But it was an hour, but it was like a hard hour. Like
Yeah.
I was out for an hour. So whatever was in the weather that day.
Yeah, it was weird. And so I think in my head, when I tried to go to sleep that day, I kind of knew that it was going to be hard to sleep, right? So, and then when it was time to go to sleep, I just wasn't able to fall asleep until 4:30. I was actually laying in bed. I watched a lot of podcasts, but at one point I was like laying there trying to make myself fall asleep, and that never works. So, I was there probably for like 45 minutes, and then I was just like, it's like I wasn't even groggy. There's nothing. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to like watch YouTube videos, right? And watched a lot of podcasts, and that was fun because I do like to watch podcasts and kind of not get ideas, but I don't know. It's like inspiring and inspires me to make better podcasts, I guess. But then 4:30 rolled around, like 4 o'clock, and then I kind of told myself if I'm not asleep at 5, I'm just going to get up, you know what I mean, and start the day. Luckily, or unluckily, I don't really know, I was able to finally fall asleep at 4:30, but I woke up at 8 because my body, like, it's just, I can't sleep throughout. I wouldn't be able to just sleep until 1 p.m. It's just not going to happen. But then the next day, I told myself I can't take a nap, right? Because I was like, if I take a nap, then I'm going to be all jacked up. So I stayed up for the whole next day. I was able to go to sleep relatively well. But then last night, I do a thing with my friends that I've been friends with since I was very, very young, since we were super young kids, like 6 or 7 years old. And we have this thing called Guys Night. We go over to one of their houses, and we just kind of hang out. Literally, like, this time we just literally hung out and talked and watched, like, YouTube videos and laughed, right? But I was there until, like, 1 a.m. I didn't get to sleep until, like, 2 a.m. And, again, I woke up at, like, 7 or, like, 8 a.m. So, not much sleep, so I'm just tired. And so we took a little energy shot before this to hopefully wake myself up. But, yeah.
It was a mushroom energy shot.
Yeah, it didn't taste very good.
It didn't taste very bad, but it was just like, it's just the mind of knowing it's a mushroom freaks me out.
Well, because you're weird.
Yeah.
There was also something I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
New shirts are coming out, guys. New shirts and hoodies. First time we've released hoodies. They should be out. Our plan is they're going to be out on Black Friday, so very soon. So we're really excited about it. I posted on my story on Instagram, but it's like this really cool panther design, like Work for Change. It's like inspired by old 80s bands, like 80s hair metal. Very inspired by Def Leppard, if you've ever seen their like font that they use. I think it's the coolest shirt we've made by far. Like, I am very, very excited. So if you guys are interested in that and helping support us, Black Friday, they'll just follow us on Instagram. They'll be posts about those.
Do you know the sizes? What we're going up to? What all that stuff?
I don't know off the top of my head. I think we're going up to at least 5X in the shirts. I don't know about the hoodies.
2X hoodies, 1X?
Yeah, I don't. No, it'd be at least 2X, I'm sure. But all that information will be out once they're released. So if you're interested, it really helps us out a lot. We tried to order a little bit more this time, so we'll see how it goes because they do usually sell out relatively quick because we have to kind of pay for them before they sell. So we're not ballers, so we can't, order like 2,000 shirts.
That'd be interesting. How, I don't know, like take out a small loan and then just buy a
small loan of $1 million.
But I wonder how do startups do this? It's all loan based. It's all like
loan based, and
someone believes in the startup. They say, "I'll donate this much money to begin."
Well, I think that there's people that literally their business is being a venture capitalist. So it's like they have money and they've turned their job into donating it, kind of. Not actually donating it.
Payment.
Exactly. Yeah. Like investing it is a better term. Like investing it in small businesses, or like that's how a lot of apps get started up. It's like, we have this app, it's a great idea, but we're broke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we can make it happen, we just need the money. And then once, okay, I'll give you $100,000. Once you are making money, I expect to receive, $115,000. So they make $15,000 off that. But yeah, it'd be nice to someone to be like, hey, man.
Hey, dude, I believe in the work for change.
Yeah, but at the same time,
we're doing it our own way.
Yeah, I'd rather just keep it to ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Because then you don't have any other people telling you what you should be doing and stuff,
Yeah, I feel you. That's how I worked out not recently, but when I would go up to Disneyland all the time, the gym that I would visit, like my away from home gym, was CrossFit Chalk. And right, if you want a crazy story, like, just Google Ryan Fisher. Like, he's been on Barbell Shrugged podcast. He's been on a couple other podcasts. He has his own podcast on the Barbell Shrugged network. But he's literally a guy who started from nothing. He started doing CrossFit, and he had 2 pairs of shorts that he wore over and over and over and over and over again. He did his first competition barefoot because he didn't have CrossFit shoes. And then one guy was kind of noticed him, and, hey, you want to work out? It's a crazy story. He got to a point where he was living on someone's couch, just believing in his dream. And then he was personal training someone, who then was a multi-millionaire. And the personal trainer's like, dude, you're really good at what you do. Have you considered opening a gym? They started the conversation. He opened CrossFit Chalk, and now it's his brand is just insane. But it's a pretty crazy story. But that's CrossFit Chalk, and that's what I'm saying is that's how that started. Someone believed in him, and
no, yeah, it's always it's crazy how money's not everything, for sure, but it does talk, and it can make things happen where they might not have happened before, and so that's why I think for people like us that come from no money, we're used to. I forgot what I was listening to or watching, but they I think it might have been a comedian, or I think it was. I was listening to Theo Vaughn's podcast, and he had Bill Burr on it, I think. And Bill Burr, it was actually interesting because this was the whole thing. Apparently, it was everyone was like, "Oh, Bill was so mean to Theo Vaughn on his podcast. He's so rude." But at one point during the podcast, Theo was basically saying I don't like to work with other people and all this stuff, and he was saying I feel I don't have as many opportunities because I'm not willing to. And Bill was you need to. He was "What did you grow up without any money?" And he was "Yeah." Theo was I didn't have much money. He's you need to stop feeling bad for becoming successful. And that just hit me because I struggle with that too. It's weird when you come from nothing, you feel like you don't deserve anything. So a lot of times you end up not even actually working as hard as maybe you could, because it's just this weird thing where it's I'm making money and I don't, for us, both of our parents work very, very hard for not very much money, right? Manual labor. Our dad does construction. Our mom works at Walmart. They work very, very hard for not very much money. And a lot of times, I feel I don't work as hard manually, and I make a lot more. Mm-hmm. And that's definitely, it can kind of, I struggle with it at times, I think. But yeah, so that was something that, it's the whole reason I was saying that is because, and then he kind of said, Theo was saying, he's yeah, because when I grew up, it was you're always, the common enemy that everyone in the hood has, is what he said, was the people that have money. It's they're bad, and we're the good guys, they're the bad guys. And it's not always the case. There are some really awesome people that have a lot of money that use that money to do really cool things. Apparently, Bill Burr was he went to this billionaire's mansion, and they paid him to do a comedy skit, right? Comedy show just for like this party, and they paid him a lot of money. But then he had a conversation with the guy. He was expecting him to kind of be like whatever. I guess he made a joke about like presidential, like Obama or something like that. It didn't go well at all, and he felt kind of bad. So he went up to the guy. He was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry about that first joke." Like, you know, and the guy, I guess, was like super cool about it. He was like, "I don't care. Like, I thought it was funny."
Yeah.
And so, but it's like naturally when you come from not much money, at least I feel like you see people with money and you're like, I don't like you, or like you're my enemy. It's been getting better for me now, but yeah, interesting. I don't know where that came from, but
I know that like I've got just from we come from low income, very low income, poverty level, Section 8, affordable, whatever.
Government cheese.
Yeah, and then not only do we come from that, but we also come from a separated family.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do we come from a separated family, we come from drug-addicted parents. Like, we deal with the trauma of separation and CPS. Like, so there's a lot that
We're also not from Earth.
Yeah, but like, there's a lot that I know is like, kind of not right in my head. Like, I'm a functioning human being. Like, I've got that going for me. Somewhat. But there are definitely some like things that I've kind of just accepted or think wrongly about. And so
Like what?
So many things. Self-worth, approaching people that I'm like feel like I'm not superior to, that I'm under, like bosses or stuff like that. I for some reason go the path of self-sabotage, and it's like it's the most evident in the way I eat, because I know everything. Like that's just a small example, but I do that even more. So like if I'm having a conversation and I know a subject is kind of taboo, I'll bring it up. And I don't know why. Like if I know it's taboo with that person, I'll be like, well, I'm gonna make them not like me now. And it's like really weird things that I just like find myself like, well, here's where I am. I just decided to do this.
Let's talk about politics.
Yeah. So it's like there's a lot of things that I know I want to work through and talk through. So I actually finally made the decision to reach out to a therapist to talk to. Ghosted me. Freaking jerk.
They haven't replied yet?
Never got a reply.
Have you?
So I'm either going to call. I emailed because I'm a pansy, and didn't want the immediate conversation. I wanted to just delay it over email. So I sent him an email to his direct email that he has on his
What's his
site.
name? No, I'm just kidding.
I actually don't even remember because I messaged him like a month ago.
Yeah.
And I never got a reply. So it was like this like super vulnerable moment for me where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make this decision.
Was your heart like racing?
Yeah, like writing an email, like trying to I sent it from my work email. Like not even my personal one. So he would be like, oh, this guy works at a church. Like, what does that matter? That doesn't mean anything. But I send it from my work email, and then I like write the draft like 3 times. And at first I wanted to be like, hey, how's it going? I know that I know I have a lot of things I need to work through, but I don't know exactly what it is. Can you please help me? And then it was kind of like, hey, I'm interested in starting conversation. Like, but I don't have my insurance doesn't cover this. So what's the next step? You know what I mean? Like I tried all these things, and I finally just went with like, hey, I'm really interested. Like in the subject, I did like new client, and then I was like, I'm really super interested in talking with you. I'd love to continue this conversation. How do we do this? Blah blah. And I just never got a reply. I even checked this week to be like, did I just miss the reply? Did I not see it? No, I didn't get it. So I'm super like, it's like, if I look deeper into maybe he doesn't check his email, maybe the website doesn't work anymore, and so that email doesn't work anymore. There are so many things that could be. Yeah, but but I immediately think that he's avoiding me.
This person he's never met before in his life. Yeah, he's definitely avoiding you for sure.
But I don't know. Anyway, that's a totally different path. But don't be afraid of therapy, everyone. Don't be afraid of therapy, kids. Like. It's true. It had this stigma, but that stigma's been hopefully been washed away. Like we understand that if your ankle hurts,
I think that first off,
fix it.
Don't even bring that up. That's not nice.
If your body hurts, you rest, you recover. But when your mind, like if your mind is a muscle, right? Like when your body is What?
It's just such a bro way to explain it.
No, but like if your back hurts,
yeah.
you go to someone to fix it.
Hopefully.
Like if you have scoliosis or something, right?
Yeah.
But if your mind, if there's something that's definitely off or wrong, we think, oh, I'm strong enough, I'll figure it out on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. What are you gonna say?
I agree with you to a certain extent. Like, I think it should get to that point. I don't think we're there yet. I think that if we talk about...
Maybe it's the circles I'm in.
Yeah.
Like this, like it's literally like, yeah, therapy. Oh, your therapist? Oh, your therapist?
Yeah.
Like...
No, I think with that, yeah.
Yeah.
Once you start taking medication, people get a little weird, I think, still. Again, I don't agree with that, but I think that people think...
I don't know if counselors do medicine.
Well, yeah, no.
That's psychiatrist.
Yeah, no, it's a different thing, but it's still like you're taking medicine for your mental health, right? So, like, I think people still have a stigma against that. I think therapy has become a lot more normalized, but medication still, again, not saying I agree with it, but I think there is still more of a stigma against that than there is going to a therapist because, from what I've seen, I think everyone can benefit from going to a therapist, just like everyone can benefit by having a GP, a general practitioner, doctor that they have. Everyone can benefit from that. It's just maybe some people can benefit a little bit more, which I think me and you are two of those people.
Yeah.
Because I've talked about all my issues. This podcast has become like me venting at some points. So, yeah, I think that you 100% should try and reach out in another way other than just email.
And then there's the whole like underlayer, which I won't get into very much, but I've got a very specific set of beliefs that calls me a Christian.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, do I want to go the Christian counselor route, even though I have been hurt by Christian leaders before? Mm-hmm. Or do I want to go the non-Christian route, but then be worried that this person's going to be like doing some stuff that I'm like, I don't actually believe in that, Mm-hmm. But that's an underlayer. That's just a neither here nor there.
The other thing, so the thing that I've been dealing with this past week is that the day after I turned 27, my ankle starts hurting. So I'm getting old. But
I'm 29
I don't...
and my ankle feels just fine.
Yeah, well, your back doesn't.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
So I was... And the thing that's frustrating is I don't even know exactly what happened. And also I kind of do a little bit. And let me explain. So I woke up the day after my birthday, so last Thursday. And... Was that last Thursday? Yeah, it was last Thursday. And so the 14th. And I was like, man, my ankle feels a little weird. No. I am off. So I woke up the Monday before my birthday, and my ankle felt a little weird, right? And I was like, it feels kind of weird, but I've had that happen many times. So I was like, okay, I'll just keep working out. And I worked out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But then Thursday, I was like, this feels weird, but still didn't really do anything.
Thursday was your birthday?
I think Wednesday was my birthday.
Okay.
Right? Was it?
I don't know.
I think it was.
Yeah, Wednesday.
So that's why I said I was off. So, and then Thursday, I think I might have worked out, but I was like, man, this really doesn't feel good. And then Friday was the day that we hung out. I was like, I need to actually handle this. Like, this is not getting any better. So
you went to a doctor?
No. I went and I got like, stuff for my ankle, like an ankle brace, and I got a cane just because I'm extra. But then I started like actually resting it. Like I was kind of icing it, but not really. Mm-hmm. But actually like taking better care of it, and it's gotten significantly better. Like I would say my ankle's probably like 90% healed now. But it's been frustrating because it's like there's still some things that I can't do, and it just like at first it's like okay, but then the longer you go on, it just starts to kind of build up. You know what I mean? Like today we were in a group chat with one of our other friends, and we're gonna be doing competition in a few weeks, right? And so we're like, okay, let's.
Is me, you, and our friend Mike.
Yeah. And we're
doing a competition. Everyone get that? December 7th, mm-hmm. At Double Barrel CrossFit. If you're in the area, come check us out.
Or don't.
We're going to be crushing the advanced division.
Yeah, so this will be our first advanced competition. So that'll be
Not
cool.
my first.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You did elite and got destroyed.
Yep.
But so we were texting, and there's 3 workouts. It's actually there's not that many workouts for a competition, but there's 3 workouts. And
there's a final if you make it past.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's like how it always is, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what it is until the day of. Yeah. So we were texting each other, hey, we're going to practice these workouts, and I can't do some of the movements still, Like there's double unders, and like my ankle's fine to where I can walk on it. I can do like most stuff. It's just like if I were to try and run on it, and I'm still not really squatting on it. So I was like, man, it's just frustrating because you want to, you obviously you want to be able to do everything that your body can do. And so that's kind of been something that I've been struggling with. But this was interesting. So I was taking a shower a couple days ago, and you know how you have the good thoughts in the shower? That doesn't sound right.
We don't need to talk about that here.
But like you get like philosophical. At least I do. And I was thinking, it's funny because my injured body now can do so much more than my healthy body when I was very unhealthy. When I was at my heaviest, and I just thought that was kind of cool. Like, I'm injured, but I can still do muscle ups. I can still row really. You know what I mean? Like, I can still do all of these things.
Healthy is an interesting word. You injured now is better than you
uninjured. Yeah. Uninjured before.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting because like you see, I think it's hard like to feel. Sometimes it's hard to feel empathy for like these, like, insanely talented athletes when they're like, oh man, like if we want to bring it to CrossFit, it's like, CrossFit Games level athletes that are maybe injured or they're just like haven't been training very much, but they still do a workout with you and completely demolish you, and you're like, what are you complaining about? But like when you know what you can achieve, you know that you're not up to that. You know what I mean? You're not up to where you could be. And so, but I just thought it was interesting that even though I'm injured, which I'm not really injured, but like I have some limitations right now, I'm still light years ahead of where I was, and I'm still light years ahead of where I was even 6 months ago. You know what I mean? And that's been, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of a cool little thing that I noticed.
Yeah, I would like to say that I'm light years ahead of where I was 6 months ago, but I actually placed better in the open last time than I did this time.
So did I.
Yeah,
it was the pistol workout that just shot me down the leaderboard pretty bad.
It was my honeymoon. and then the lack of self-control for food.
How's that been going recently?
I feel like it's been pretty good, but I haven't really been too like adamant on it. But food is an interesting subject to talk about because the week that this podcast comes out is actually Thanksgiving week. So to everyone who's listening in America, in God's country.
Don't say that. We love all countries.
But in God's country.
But America more.
It's Thanksgiving. So I'm not going to explain what Thanksgiving is, but
because it's horrible.
Well, I mean, it depends. Thanksgiving has nothing to do with pilgrims and Indians. It was doesn't matter. So I was just kind of thinking about Thanksgiving and what Thanksgiving was in our family, in our jacked up, crazy family. Because even though we say that, our parents were below the poverty level, even though we say that they were drug addicts who got their kids taken away from them, once they like kind of came to their senses, they did everything they could for us.
Yep. Oh, without a doubt.
Without
a doubt, man. Like I think about like what mom, the sacrifices she made, and like we always say mom because we ended up. Like,
we lived with our mom because our dad, we're less close to our dad.
Yeah.
We're not bitter or
we're not
angry,
estranged from him or anything like that.
But he got a girlfriend after, and then she had 4 kids, and then his attention became very divided.
Yeah. So we say mom because that's who we grew up with, right? But like, it's crazy how much she would do for us with such little resources. Like it really is unbelievable. Like I think about it all the time, and it's interesting because I've had conversations with friends of mine. Like I wouldn't change any of that stuff because it really has helped me definitely be more empathetic towards other people, but be more appreciative of the things that I have. And it's just like, and it's like when we're talking about like Thanksgiving and stuff, and like I just remember like we had not much at all, right? I don't want to say nothing because we had a roof over our head and stuff, but like we would literally, one of my best friends, one of the guys that I was at I was hanging out with last night is a kid that we met when I was in middle school. And his family was even worse than ours. I laugh because we make fun of each other. That sounds horrible, but it was like his family was like worse than ours. And so we ended up literally like bringing him into the house, and he lived with us for years, right? And this is a family that doesn't have much, and we're taking in another kid because my mom, that's the kind of heart that she has. So sorry to take over your story, but yeah, it's like there's a lot of love in our family, even though we didn't have much money.
Yeah, and so there was one year where, like, okay, again, we've solidified the fact that we didn't have a lot, but my mom just had this big heart for taking care of people who were in hard situations. That that maybe because we were the kids who were in a hard situation before, and then if you guys don't know the story, basically we were taken away. My mom was homeless. She ended up having a chance encounter with someone who got her in connection with a drug and rehab program that was also a Christian church. And then that was when she changed her life around. The government saw like, oh, wow, she's actually doing what she said she was going to do. And then we were able to live back with her after about a year in foster care. So of the bad stories, like to have, of all the bad stories of being through foster care, of doing all that, like we got it pretty good of the bad.
Yeah.
Like it could have been worse.
Like we were a success story for CPS, which doesn't happen very often. Yeah,
and it's like, but even for that, like there are just people who have some rough things, and some of you guys listening, like our story is a walk in the park to you, and so. The thing that I wanted to bring up out of this, like before we even get into, here's some things you can do to make sure that you stay on track, and here's some things you can do to not totally derail your fitness. You don't have to have anything to have thankfulness and gratefulness. Because it was out of a heart of thankfulness and gratitude that my mom was able to bring in. So there was one year, there was like 40 people at the house. 3-bedroom, 1-bath, small house. Yeah. No joke, no exaggeration. Like 40 people were at the house that day, including the person you were hanging out with, multiple people you were hanging out with, including just people whose parents were not around, whose parents were on drugs, who we met through the church. Some of my friends, if my sister had friends, bring them over. If you had friends, I had friends, bring them over. And it was kind of like we'd watch football. We'd play football in the street or catch. And it was just like a good day of just remembering, like, it didn't feel that day like we were poor. It didn't feel that day like we were lacking anything because we had friendships and we had connections. But also, when you have an attitude of thankfulness and gratitude, you stop focusing on the things that you don't have, or the things you wish you had, or the things that other people have that you don't. And you begin to really take stock in the things that actually matter. Because in the long scheme of things, like items don't matter, clothes matter, but the best ones don't.
Yeah, you don't want to be naked.
Yeah. But like
some people do, but
yeah, that's their religion.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Their prerogative. Thought about that one. But I don't know. I just wanted to before we head into any like practical tips or anything that we could do, like an attitude of thankfulness goes really, really, really far. And an attitude of gratitude, which is
such a church thing.
Yeah. Is also going to go really, really far. And if you can't be happy with the little that you have, if you can't be generous with the little that you have, you'll never be generous or happy if and when you end up getting more.
I want to, if someone's out there that's listening to this, because the holiday season, without a doubt, can be very hard for people. 100%, not just fitness and weight loss wise, but mentally hard, right? If you didn't have much growing up, or your family wasn't close, and you feel like all these people are doing things and you're not, honestly, and this just literally just popped into my head while you were talking that, instead of thinking to yourself, woe is me, I'm sad, which I get it, and it's fair to feel that way, think, what can I do for someone else? Because I'm telling you right now, that'll make you feel better. Even if it's something as small as getting some food and then giving it out to a homeless person or something. You know what I mean? You don't have to go and serve if you don't have all day or whatever, but just doing something nice for someone. Honestly, like when you give a gift to someone, it's always so much more fun when you're giving it than when you're getting it, right? When you're getting it, like, okay, cool, thanks. You know? And when you give it, especially if it's like to someone that doesn't have much or wasn't expecting it, it's always so much fun to see how they react. And I don't know, like that's what it's all about. Like, because we focus so much, especially like with it's funny with Thanksgiving, we focus on what we don't. I think a lot of people end up focusing on what you don't have. And I struggle with it too, right? Because this year is going to be the first time our family isn't going to have a huge Thanksgiving, right? Like at our old house that we grew up at.
Yeah.
And that's weird. Like I'm kind of, at first I was thinking, oh, I'm sad about that, right? Like who am I gonna be with on Thanksgiving? I don't have, like, you have Sam and her family, and maybe I'll go there. Like, I don't really know. Mm-hmm. But instead, like, I just want to focus on like what I do have, and maybe even if it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to Sam's house, but like instead of being like sad about it, be like, okay, well, I can bring joy there. I can be I can make it to where people are like, oh, I'm glad that John came because he was funny, or he made us laugh, or whatever it might be. I don't know. Super tangent right there, but
to show gratitude, one of the things Sam and I are really working on in our marriage is that we're grateful people. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things we wanted to make sure we did was for our wedding, Sam's mom and her aunt like paid for a lot of it. Mm-hmm. They both pretty much raised Sam. Just they're a very strong family. It's a good family. Yeah. And so they both helped in raising Sam. And so we wanted to make sure that we showed our gratitude for how much they did for us. So we did what we could. We're newlyweds, but we like took them out to dinner, like a nice dinner. It's actually, we took them to their favorite place, which isn't super nice, but whatever. And then it was like Coronado, like the nice part of town. It's this little like island kind of thing. Mm-hmm. We ended up taking my brother too, because we were like, he's part of the family. He's in. And that night, I saw how much charm he can put on. I was just like, geez, dude. Like I started the night off, and I'm like, all right, so Geneva's hanging out with us, but you're not allowed to like him more than me. And then he like worked it up that day, and I'm like, holy moly, dude, way to go.
I can definitely be charming, I think.
I have no charm.
Yeah,
I don't have an ounce of charm.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, I can be funny, goofy, like thoughtful, charming. I have none of it.
Yeah.
At all. The one time I tried to charm someone, I was working at Levi's.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember this perfectly because it was so mortifying, apparently. A mom and daughter came in, and I was like, talking to them, and then I said something like, oh, like, don't talk to your sister that way, or something, like, to make the mom feel young. But all it did was make the daughter, feel like she was super old, because I was calling her as like, oh, I thought you guys are you guys sisters or something? And then immediately, like, the daughter just like face just fell deadpan, and it was just like, I'm ready for this to be over. And I was just like, have a great day. Like, it was the worst. So I have zero charm whatsoever.
You drooled on yourself when you said that too.
I know. I tried to. No one would have noticed.
No, I noticed.
I know.
I'm not.
I like wiped it away and everything. It wasn't drool. It was like a little spit out.
Well, it was just
I'm
perfect.
I'm a little child.
Because you were explaining how you have no charm.
Yeah. I mean, it's stuff like
that.
that.
You drool on yourself.
Yeah. And I eat dairy even though I shouldn't, which doesn't add to my charm whatsoever.
That was very random.
I don't know.
Where did that come from?
Well, because it makes me gassy.
Okay.
And it's not charming.
I think that I had to develop charm because I felt like I had nothing else. Like when I was overweight. Like, I think that that's a pretty normal thing. Like when you're an overweight person, extremely overweight in my case, like, you're like, I need something, right? Like, it's not going to be my looks that's going to bring people in. So it was like, for me, it was like comedy, but I think it was more like charm. Uh-huh. But my charm was comedy. You know what I mean? Like, because the whole night that we were together with
you're pretty quick and witty. That's another thing that like makes me mad.
I look
at your like Instagram comments or YouTube comments.
Yeah, I can be.
And I'm like, I'm like, I'll never think of that.
Yeah.
I'll never think of something that quick, like that fast. I like sit there, and I'm like, okay, just one comment. Just make a comment. Wow, bro. Well, send. That's all I got.
Yeah, I definitely have been having more fun with just kind of getting people back on Instagram, like when people are just rude.
That's not what I'm talking about, though. I'm not talking about the clapbacks. I'm talking about like legitimate, like
the captions,
like or your captions, or like it'll be like Cara Saunders doing a workout. You'll be like, I have the same shorts.
Yeah.
Or like something like that, where it's just like, darn it.
Yeah, so it's funny. I think I'm not sure if I was saying it on this. I think I might have been saying it on the Buttery Bros podcast, but I'm 100% would be a troll if I didn't have a following. And like I said, not a mean troll, but just like a troll. You know what I mean? Like just saying silly stuff, because that's absolutely my personality. And it's funny because I have the two Instagrams, right? I have Obese, and then I have John Glaude, and you and Sam make fun of me because you're like, your John Glaude one is just trash. You just post trash there, and I'm like, that's pretty much what it is. Like that's why I think I enjoy it so much, is because I don't feel any pressure about posting on there. And on the John Glaude one, or on the Obese one, not that I feel like pressure, but I feel like people take everything I say much more seriously on that one. You know what I mean? And so on the second Instagram, I can just say whatever I want and not be too worried about it. People still get upset, but it's like, I'm just like, well, this is just my secondary Instagram. I don't know. It just doesn't bother me as much. But it's fun.
Everything
man.
Obese says is like put into law.
Yeah.
Or
well, that's how I
feel.
feel.
Stone. Mm-hmm. Whereas John Glaude is just a regular old.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that I think I put too much stock in that, and it gives me anxiety at times when it shouldn't. So I need to work on that. I honestly think, and this is something I've been wanting to talk about on the podcast for a while, the fact that Instagram took away the likes and stuff, it's honestly brought me some peace, because I don't, even though I know that some other people can see what like the likes are, I can't.
I still have likes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
And they said they were taking them out of the U.S. this last week, and I still have them.
That's so weird. Yeah, I don't have them anymore. I haven't had them. They got rid of them
Still
on my second Instagram.
Can you see other people's likes?
No. So I can see mine if I click on it and like view insights, you know what I mean? But like I literally cannot see other people's. Like it just says liked by so and so and others, and then it'll say liked by so and so and thousands of others, and then if you're like a baller, it'll say liked by so and so and millions of others.
Oh yeah, that would be what mine is.
Yeah, same. But so mine always pretty much end up saying liked by blah, 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 and thousands of others. So it's like, it just takes that like stress over it. Because as a creator, you always are like, if I'm not doing better, I'm doing worse. Like that's like the mentality you have. And even if it's something as small as an Instagram post, it's like, man, this one, because sometimes I'll want to post them, but I'm like, I know people aren't going to like this. Or at least they're not going to click like on it, right? Yeah. Like if it's like an artsy photo, or it's not like a weight loss related thing, and it's just like a random selfie or whatever. Not selfie, but usually it's like other stuff. I would be like, I want to post this, and then I want it, and then I post it on my second Instagram, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like taking that stress out of that, for me at least. And I think that it's really nice. I don't know how long it's going to last, and I know that some influencers have been very like vocally against it. I guess because I don't make any money on Instagram, so it doesn't matter how many likes I get. Like, there's not companies that are looking at my likes to decide how much they're going to pay me, right? Like, I just do Instagram. Like, I don't think I've ever gotten paid for an Instagram post. Maybe one time. You know what I mean? I got that electric bike, which is sick.
Yeah.
But, like, and I mean, I guess that's kind of getting paid, but that thing is so fun. But I guess I don't really care that much. I don't post on Instagram to make people feel like I'm, you know what I mean? Like I just post on Instagram because that's where it started. Like I started this Instagram literally because I felt bad that I was posting so much weight loss and fitness stuff on my main Instagram, which is now my second Instagram. It's this whole convoluted thing. But so then I was like, okay, I'll start this other one that's called Obese, and then it just kind of started taking off, and I started posting more. But yeah, I think that the whole taking away the likes thing was an interesting choice. And like I was like thinking about it. I made a video on my channel about this. Like imagine if YouTube took away the views. It just like I'm not sure. I don't think that would ever happen, but that would be really interesting too, because I think a lot of people, like, obviously one thing, you get paid per view, kind of. It's not really exactly how it works, but if you have ads on, the more views you have, the more ad revenue you can get, right? So that's important. But I think a lot of people freak out because if a video doesn't do well view wise, it's like, oh, these people are going to look at my channel and see that this video is not doing well. And as a YouTuber, you always think you're as good as your last video. So if the last video you put out gets half as many views, which has happened to me in the past, you're like, everything's falling apart. It's like, it's always like the next step is always falling apart. And like, you feel like everything is going to just like crumble, when it's just like, no, that video, just people didn't want to watch it. It's not the end of the world,
Did you not like that my phone lit up?
No, your phone was too close to the thing and it started making noise. So you don't have any headphones on, so you couldn't hear it. But it was like making like weird staticky noise, so I had to get it out of there.
Well, if you heard some staticky noise, because my phone got an email, junk email, and I thought you were mad that it lit up. I was like, wow.
No, I was like moving it away from the thing.
Holy moly. Someone
Get
needs to
this
get
phone
something
out
out
of
of
here.
his chest.
No. That's like, what do you?
I think it's a common feeling to, like, even within like the business world, like, you're as good as your last acquisition. You're as good as your last merge. I don't know, like, like whatever. Let's use business terms. You're as good as your last spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Document.
I don't know business
Profit
terms.
and loss statement.
Yes.
But I feel like that's a common thing, is we base our our approval and our
Worth.
acceptance and our worth off of our last success or failure. And that is definitely something that you can't do.
Yeah.
That just leads to performance-based anxiety, and it leads to always feeling like you need to one up. And there's a difference between like always wanting to improve by 1%, but the problem is, like, when your only form of improvement is views, something you can't control.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, like, that's where the problem comes in, because if you do like let's take this into weight loss, just a random example. I don't know. Like, if your only improvement is a scale, then you're gonna base your days off of that morning's number,
Which you technically can't really control.
Daily,
There's so many factors.
Yeah, exactly, especially daily.
Yeah.
Maybe weekly, sure. Like, you should be on a downtrend.
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, but when there's so many factors that go into just the number on the scale.
So when you put your worth based on one factor out of let's say it's a 10-factor problem, you're going to have skewed results and you're going to have a skewed perspective. But if you can accept, like, all right, well, let me look at these 10 things. The general trend is positive. Okay. The problem is we don't do that. No, none of us do. We find the easiest metric and we go, that's what I'm going to use.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the times it ends up being an issue. In regards to Instagram, I think that it's a good thing. I definitely noticed that I have an unhealthy relationship with social media, just like everyone who grew up in the 2000s.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a new thing. It's a new drug. And we're still trying to figure out the best way to let it enhance our lives, but not control it. And so I think that it'll be very interesting. I know that, like, when I get into a habit of posting frequently, I look forward to those likes. And you post something like 2 times a day, 3 times a day. Have you done it 3 times a day? Or?
Not in quite a while. I used to. I used to do 3 times a day every day for like a whole year.
Holy moly. No, I don't think I've ever done that. I've done 3 posts a day maybe, but not any consistent amount of time, like more than a day. But
the thing I will say is, like, all those posts were totally garbage. So that's fine.
Yeah. And so, like, I do know, like, I've been in like, right now I'm, like, trying to spark my creativity in my posts. Like, and that was kind of like what we talked about on one of the episodes. It was like, hey, like, okay, you don't want to do your diet, but, like, you can choose to be more creative. And so for me, it's like, yeah, what can I make creatively today? And the new thing has been doodles. I've been, like, making these, like, little drawings on my posts and some of your pictures and Sam's pictures. And it's like, the nice thing about that one, it's kind of like you and your, like, commentary videos is, like, I enjoy doing it. and other people enjoy seeing it.
Yeah.
I've had so many people message me, how do you do that? Comment, this is so awesome. Noah Olson commented, like, dude, this is awesome. I was like, you don't even follow me. Like, yeah, but I think it's because you posted it on your story. But it was just like stuff like that where it's just like, cool, this is something that I enjoy. It definitely was out of my comfort zone. But it causes me to be a little bit more creative with what I do, which is
You know what you should do? You should find this. I think this is just a good idea. And I mean, I'm just going to say it on the podcast. You should find, because you said it's like cool that Noah Olson commented.
Find one of his posts and then.
Not just him, but a lot of people. 100% you should do that.
But I know someone who's done that. And that's what makes me nervous. Like, I don't want to be number 2 doing it.
Well, you could always just message that person.
I have.
Okay.
Well, not about doing it for other people, but I was like, thanks so much for showing me this. Because I saw it from a guy that you met in Hawaii, named Vakey, shout out. And if you listen to how I just said that and then try to spell it, you're gonna get it wrong.
Yeah. His name is very interesting.
And he's Australian. I thought he was by that name. I thought he was.
He's not Australian. He's from South Africa.
South Africa?
South Africa, man. Yeah.
That's not how he talks.
Yeah, man.
That's not how he talks at all.
South Africa. Afrikaans.
But he lives in Australia.
He lives in Australia, but he's from South Africa.
Okay, but that name sounds like Iceland, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. He's not Icelandic
at all.
No.
I was completely thrown off when I saw his face based on what you were. But I sent him a message and I was like, "This is really cool." Like, I sent him a post like, "This one was inspired by you" or something. He's like, "That's so awesome. I was inspired by this guy," and he like sent me another and so that's just kind of how
exactly
creativity works. Is there's no creativity in a vacuum. It always is inspired or.
And your doodles are different than their doodles.
Yeah.
So I think that would be like me getting mad at anyone that makes weight loss videos
or commentary videos.
Yeah, there's a reason. You know what I mean? I think that you should do it. I think that's a good idea, and you should do it. And if you don't do it, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Because you decided to make that public.
Yep.
that idea public that I never agreed to. I've thought about it. I was looking through a specific CrossFit Games athlete's profile, looking for one that I could like do that to, and I did it for like 5 minutes, and then was like eating frozen yogurt or something. So then I got occupied. So now to finish this podcast off, I wanted to talk about a couple tips heading into Thanksgiving. If you've made it this far, this is probably going to be the title of the podcast. And you've made it through, and we're going to talk about this.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. You've made it through our rambling.
Also, Jean screaming into the microphone every 5 seconds.
Yeah, well, they won't be able to tell because I'll compress it all in post. A couple tips for eating during the holidays.
What are your tips, Jean?
No, this isn't my tips. I'm the worst person to take any advice from.
That's why I wanted to hear your tips.
No, I want to know your tips on successfully making. I have 2 tips right here, but I want to hear yours first, and then we'll go back and forth.
Okay. So the first thing,
They're not stealing my ideas because I told you mine.
Yeah. So let me see your notebook.
No, I told you mine before.
I don't remember.
And I put you on the spot.
And I don't. Yeah, I know you did put me on the spot because I thought you were going to talk about stuff, and then I was going to give you my thoughts.
That's the typical path.
Yeah. But. Okay. So the first thing that I definitely want to say is I think that people stress out way too much about eating around the holidays. Like we were kind of talking about before for us with like Thanksgiving, it's about your family. It's about experience. You know what I mean? Like it's not always about the food. And if you make it about the food, that's the problem, I think. And I do want to say I understand like it's hard to give exact tips because everyone is at different spaces of their journey, right? Like I remember one year when I was really proud of myself for not having any candy on Halloween or like even at all around Halloween. Like I was like, I'm not going to have any candy. And there would be other people that be like, you're starving yourself. You're not, like, you know what I mean? But like I was at a spot in my journey that it was helpful for me to get that win, you know, of not having any candy.
It's kind of like if you're trying to build a habit of going to the gym, tell them, go every day.
Exactly.
Don't do the 4 on 3 off thing. Like,
Yeah.
go every single day. You'll get used to it, and then you'll start. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so it is hard to give advice to everybody, and I hope that people can kind of understand that. But so I would say, like, if you are, like, this is like a very practical tip, I think. If you are planning on, say it's Thanksgiving and you're going to eat a big meal at dinner, like, do your best to, I don't want to say like starve yourself, but like focus on, okay, I'm going to eat protein during the day, right? Like, I'll have some meat or whatever protein it is that you want to have, and then just be very lean for the rest of the day, like having like sandwiches, salads, and things like that. And then once dinner comes around, you can enjoy that a little bit more without that guilt. I mean, and I think that's a pretty basic tip. There's nothing super special about that.
That's good.
You know,
that helps people.
Yeah.
I think that for mine, think about, okay, so I'm not very popular, but Sam, a lot of people love Sam, my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have 2 Friendsgivings and then 1 Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. It's not because of me.
Yeah.
It's because of Sam. And so let's say for Thanksgiving, that's 3 meals. Christmas, let's assume we're going to do like a friend's Christmas meal and then a family Christmas meal. Mm-hmm. That's 5 meals, 5 days in the next 40.
Yeah.
5 meals are not going to derail you
mm-hmm.
if you make the decision that 5 meals are not going to derail you.
Well, and if you keep it at 5 meals.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like 5 meals. Yeah. Not like 5 meals plus all the leftovers plus it's already Christmas weekend or Thanksgiving weekend, so you might as well get Taco Bell. I'm talking to myself. Like 5 meals are not going to derail you over the course of a month and a half. Mm-hmm. Like, de-stress about that. Let the anxiety levels sink a little bit, because if you make the decision, even if you give yourself 3 Christmas meals, okay, that's 6 meals over the course of 45 days. Like, it'll be okay. Don't worry about it too much, but be strict about it's only going to be those 6 meals.
Yeah, and I think that with anything with nutrition and stuff, it's about how you react to it. So if you have Thanksgiving and you go hard, right? You know, like hams, potatoes, that song. If you go hard, don't think that you have to punish yourself or get like upset, or the worst thing is, well, I already, so might as well, right? Mm-hmm. That's what people get in that mindset of, I've already, so I might as well. That is the worst mindset to have, I think, with like pretty much anything, because you're letting a past mistake dictate your future. Or I don't even want to call it a mistake, but a past situation dictate what your future is going to be, and you're telling yourself you don't have an option, basically. And that's where people fall off, and that's where people have problems with, especially with the holidays, is they're like, well, I already did this, so I might as well have this piece of cake. I might as well have, because I mean, we can't sit here and lie and like say there's obviously more food around during the holidays, like more bad food, quote unquote. So there's baked goods, you know what I mean? That's kind of just around. Like I noticed it at the gym. Like people will bring in more cookies, right? People will bring in, like someone brought in cookies last night. People will bring in cakes and pies and stuff. Like you see it a lot more. So you can't, like, if you care about not gaining a bunch of weight during the holidays, you can't be like, well, last night I had a bunch of food for Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving or whatever it might be, so there's pie here today, might as well, like, I already did this. So it is a fair thing to be kind of worried about, because I think it's not fair for us to say it's only 6 meals, because there's so many more options. But again, it's like, that's when it comes to discipline, right? What are you going to do about it? And a lot of people do well, I already did this, so I might as well do this.
See, this is why we need you here. So it's not just 6 meals, but it also is just 6 meals.
I mean, it's 6 meals plus a lot of
little opportunities.
Little
yeah,
exactly.
Sneaky snacks.
And and I think it's important to say that, because that's where that, like, that
The
snowball.
sneaky cows.
Yeah, and the snowball can turn into like the huge whatever it's called, avalanche, I guess, or like whatever, like huge snowball that destroys everything. Is
It's those
because
sneaky cows that come
you and a lot of people, like I remember, so and Thanksgiving has been interesting for me, or like the holidays, because before it was like sweet, I could eat everything, right? Like I didn't care. I was super excited about it, and then it became a pretty big point of contention, of anxiety for me.
Yeah.
Because I was really afraid. I remember the first year, I was like, I'm only gonna have turkey, and you know what I mean. Like I don't think I had like any pie. I didn't have any desserts because I was like genuinely afraid. This is like right when I had lost like over 100 pounds or something like that. Like I was really in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's as the years have gone on, I've gotten more comfortable with things, and I think that a lot of people think they need to be at that point right away. And I think it's okay to not be there right away. And like for you, it's different because you've never had this huge, like I don't think you were ever addicted to food, like truly.
Yeah.
I don't think that
definitely.
you ever did like struggle with binge eating like I did. So there's a lot of people that I'm talking to that have been addicted to food or are dealing with binge eating or are addicted to food still. And it is really scary. So I don't want it to ever seem like I'm minimizing things, but I just want people to understand, like when they see me, like you can't, like there is a way out. It just takes a while, like I was thinking about it today, man. Like I weigh like 210 pounds right now, right? And I was like, I mean, all I've had today was a complete cookie, Lineal Aries. Like my diet is not good right now, but it's not absolutely horrible. And I think a lot of people think you either have to have a great diet or it's like, well, screw it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've realized like my diet right now is, I care, but also I've been eating Chipotle way too much. Like I had Chipotle past 2 nights.
Yeah, that's just enough actually. I had Chipotle last night too.
Yeah. And so, but like I'm able to at least rein it into a point where it doesn't become super unhealthy. And I'm really proud of that. Like I know it might sound weird, but I'm going on a tangent, but I honestly, when I see someone that like they put all their meals out and they're perfect, like to me, I'm like, doesn't impress me. Like good for you, but like I'm at a point where it's like I don't want that. Like I want to be able to have, like I can get there, I could do that if I wanted to, but it's like that's not what I want. I want to eat with my friends. I want to go out. I want to do things. I want to experience things, or even if it's just cooking for myself, like I want to have a little bit more fun or make stir fry. But like, you know what I mean? Like that stuff doesn't inspire me. I understand that it inspires other people, but for me, like food is more than just fuel and more than just like nourishment. It's opportunities with people. It's camaraderie. It's so much more than that. And so yeah, I don't even know where I'm going anymore. But
yeah, it's good. My next tip is going to be know that you're going to want to fill your plate, so come in with a game plan. Mm-hmm. Recently, we had Amigos Giving, which is Friendsgiving with Mexican food, naturally. And when we were in the group chat talking about what everyone was going to bring, I was just like, this is going to be lit. Mm-hmm. Tonight, like, we had a taco bar. We had Mexican lasagna. We had enchiladas, chips, salsa, guac, churros. Like, it was just like, all right.
Yeah.
We're going hard on this. And so with that, I had zero intentions of denying myself anything because I wanted to enjoy the night with my friends. And I did. It was a great night. But I knew that if I wanted to enjoy the night, I needed to minimize the portions that I ate. So the enchilada I got, just a smaller piece than I would normally cut off. The lasagna, the nachos, I did not go back for thirds. I did get seconds, though, after everything. But it was just like coming in with a game plan, knowing, okay, I'm going to think I'm hungrier than I am because all this food is going to look so good. So instead of like filling my plate up with these huge portions and then needing to finish the plate, because that's how I am, how we are, I went with a smaller portion and felt very satisfied and didn't feel like that was like a super negative in the books of
I think that's something that a lot of people, they fall victim to, is feeling like, oh, if I don't try this, I'm going to feel like I missed out. I have never left somewhere and been like, I really wish I would have had that piece of pie. You know what I mean? Like it's not that big of a deal. And so I think that that's something that a lot of people struggle with too, is when it's like a holiday and there's like, because it's usually there's a lot of food, but there's a lot of different types of food. And you're always like, I want to try everything. It's like, if you don't try that green bean casserole, like, it's not going to be later in the week, and you're not going to be thinking to yourself, if I only had that serving of green bean casserole. Like, it's okay to not have everything.
But if you want it,
yeah,
you do a little bit smaller of a portion.
A little bit smaller of a portion. And then this goes even like more into like when it comes to like seconds and thirds. Like, there's the whole thing of like, treat yourself, and like, you should, you know what I mean? Which is fine. But if you don't want to feel like garbage, like, maybe rein it back, because you're definitely not gonna think, if I only had that second serving of pie. You know what I mean? Like, you had it, you tasted it, okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to move
and
on.
like, that pie was designed to make you want it again.
Absolutely. And
yeah,
exactly. So it's like, it is.
Even if you do really want that second bite of pie, it's like, or slice, it's like,
don't let the pie
win. The point. That was the point of why that was created, to make you want another one, because you're like, wow, that was really good. That made me feel good. I want that again. It won't feel as good the second time.
Yeah, and I think that one of like the things when it comes to like, holidays and eating and stuff is even like just having a plan is really like helpful. And I think that planning, if you have a plan for the whole day as well, that can really help when you get to to the situation. One thing that's always helped me is kind of not feeling like I'm hungry, like unbelievably hungry, which is hard because like I try not to eat too much before the big meal, but like maybe have a little bit right before we leave or wherever we're going, right? Like, so you're not getting there and being like, I'm starving. Because I remember when we were younger and we would be at the house, like, there wouldn't be really any food at the house other than Thanksgiving meal. So it was like you didn't eat at all
until like
all day
4.
until we would eat like 3 or 4. And I would be so unbelievably hungry that I would just like load up a huge plate, a second plate, third plate, and then it was time for dessert, know, like, so like not, it's the cheesy, tip when like, when you're going shopping, make sure you're not hungry, but like it really kind of helps. Yeah. You're not buying stupid stuff. So like if you're not starving, I'm not saying you need to be full before you get to Thanksgiving, but like if you're not starving, it's a lot easier to be like, okay, I don't actually really want that. Like I want this for sure, but I don't really care about that. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, those are our tips for trying to stay somewhat healthy during this Thanksgiving. And healthy is whatever. If you want to enjoy it, enjoy it. But if right now you're at a point where you want to watch what you're eating, these are our tips. Anything else you want to add?
Not really.
You just don't want to?
Nope.
No, you're just like, no, I don't want to.
I don't want to.
All right. Well, then neither do I.
All right.
So then we're going to end the podcast.
Cool.
Until next week, peace.
Peace.